All right, so I want to get to some fun. All right, so this guy, Turncoat Don, holy shit. He's great. I love Don. And Don is awesome. So I want to get back. Hang on, let me go back here. And now I'm gonna escape out from the slideshow. And now we're gonna go. And Don has been busy, hard at work, making videos. And he's been making, kind of cut up videos for a while. Sometimes it was, some kind of violent thing but it was funny, like somebody slapping somebody in the face, losing an argument. And he's cut up all kinds of edits together. I mean, Turncoat Don's awesome. At Turncoat D on Twitter. If you haven't followed him, give him a follow for sure. He's worth it. He's a funny dude. But lately what he's been doing is kind of splicing independent media figures into corporate media and making it kind of seem like they're inviting independent media on to speak, because that's kind of the only way that we're going to get the microphone at this point. So, here, check this out. All right. So let's go to Indie Man. Let me turn this slideshow.
That is a foul. Fucking little bastard.
All right. So here's Don. All right. Thank you. All right. So here's. This is Ari Melber listening to Jimmy Dore give a speech.
And what's happening right here at this rally is what actually scares the hell out of the establishment. Everybody from the left, everybody from the right, everybody from the middle coming together to realize that we have more in common than divides us, and we share a common enemy. That enemy is the military-industrial complex and the oligarchy. The same oligarchy that did a controlled demolition of our economy, and then they want me to hate my neighbor for the pain I'm feeling because of that, because they wouldn't take a vaccine that didn't work the way they said it did in the first fucking place. Well, I'm not gonna hate my neighbor. I'm gonna love my neighbor. Because my neighbor is suffering under the same oligarchy that I'm suffering under, and he didn't cause it. The oligarchy did, and they don't want us to join together. And I have one message for the right and the left. If everybody on the right could just realize that not everybody on the left likes Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. We just want to end the wars and have health care that doesn't bankrupt us. That would go a long way. And if everybody on the left could just realize that not everyone on the right is a white supremacist Trump or gun nut, they're just fucking gun nuts. I love you, love each other. Come together. I'll see you at the next anti-war rally. Stay together.
I love it. I love it. So Don, that's great. So that's one. And I brought a few Don videos to watch today because he's been doing this for a while, and he's actually been kind of getting some people. And this one I know got some people. So this was Max Blumenthal spliced into CNN, and this definitely got a couple of Democratic people and CNN fans really upset.
An event that I consider to be one of the most important events of the past year. That's the Rage Against the War Machine rally this February 19th at the Lincoln Memorial. Sunday, February 19th. Rage Against the War Machine. I'm going to be speaking there. And one of the things that I think threatens some of the people attacking this rally is that they can't be in charge of the entire thing and decide who to exclude, because they love to exclude people. Yes. They love to come up with a laundry list of boutique social issues that you have to sign on to, every single one, and there's no debate allowed, in order to participate in a rally about something else, which ostensibly is what your organization is supposed to revolve around, which is the war state. This is the professional sectarian left that I've had to deal with for years and years and years, whether it was on Palestine or Syria. And then, on COVID, they excluded everyone from their little meeting rooms. If you had any problem with thousands and thousands of workers being fired because they didn't want to take an experimental gene therapy injection that doesn't prevent transmission or infection, they would completely castigate you. And then you wouldn't be allowed to speak at their anti-war rallies because you opposed lockdowns that sent people into suicidal ideation and opioid addiction and kept children out of school for a year because you opposed that. The professional sectarian left would exclude you. And what this rally is not doing is excluding people, including them. They would be welcome to speak and participate, but they don't want to. They want to attack because they've lost control, because the professional sectarian left has failed in every respect to form a viable anti-war movement for the past 20 years. And here we are. They want the anti-war movement to be 100 people all wearing the same shirt with multiple advanced degrees who agree on all the same boutique social issues, who can fit in one room, and they control everyone and everything everyone says. And this rally has broken that model because it's just open. It's what you make of it. It's what anyone wants it to be. And so they are working to sabotage it. And I know from having worked with some of these people in the professional sectarian left that they destroy every institution that they become a part of. They burrow from within, they get in there. And then if you are trying to work for a greater goal within that institution and it doesn't follow their sectarian line, then they start to attack you from within and run campaigns against you. And then ultimately they try to destroy the whole organization unless you get them the hell out of there. And so every institution, every NGO, every media organization that they get in, they're a problem. And now they're becoming a problem within this when all we're trying to do is stop a nuclear war.
Awesome. I mean, that's Max. Obviously CNN would never allow that to air on their airwaves. So Don taking a little bit of liberty and doing that up to let Max see what that would be like, to see what that would be like. Too funny. All right.
Far more than liberalism,
of course, we've got Glenn Greenwald.
Or devotion to one of the two political parties has become
and could you
the
imagine
main ideology of the media. It's
Joy
really
Reid.
driven instead by allegiance to status quo power and institutional authorities. Above all else, what the corporate media wants is the agenda of institutions of authority and major power centers to be preserved and protected and advanced. That is one of the major reasons why one of the most important events in the history of media took place in the 1950s and 1960s when major media outlets became corporatized. They were no longer owned by trusted families who had newspapers passed down throughout the generations. Instead, they became swallowed up by gigantic corporations. And that's what large corporations do more than anything else. They are, by definition, inside the halls of power. They are aligned with governments and aligned with corporate agendas. They worship credentialism and authority. To thrive in corporations and large corporations, the characteristic you most need is not that you are a dissident to establishment orthodoxies, but that you are there to prove that you can efficiently advance it. Those are the personalities and characteristics which cause you to advance and succeed in any large corporation. And when media became part of large corporations, the media itself became corporatized. It adopted, even more so than ever before, a pro-authority or pro-status quo perspective. To the extent
blinking is so good.
that there is any real Democratic versus Republican allegiance that drives the media, it was almost entirely due to Trump. The media has largely been fine with standard Republicans in the past, people like George Bush and Dick Cheney, or even going back before that. They never liked Barry Goldwater because he was too extremist. He was a threat to establishment orthodoxies.
They're
and
with
that's
the eyes
same reason
big.
Why they hated Trump. The media hated Trump not because
The
he's a
Goldwater
Republican,
mention.
but because he ran on
media hates Goldwater.
opposition to
MSNBC is
Republican
state
orthodoxy.
media now.
And therefore, institutions of authority and power hated Trump, and therefore, these journalists inside media corporations did as well. That is how they think about the world.
Right, and I mean, the thing about it is, right, it's a war on language in a way, too.
So funny. Yeah. So that's another one with Don, and he did a few more that I thought were really, really good. And these I could watch these all day. And Don's a friend, and he also saw that, you know, he's a believer in what happened with Cy Hirsch and the Nord Stream pipeline. And wouldn't it be nice if somebody were on corporate media talking about, and especially on Joy Reid, talking about what happened to Nord Stream? and what really happened to Nord Stream. So imagine
the U.S. has long been trying to stop the Nord Stream 2 because, as Cy Hirsch's story points out, the U.S. has recognized that if Nord Stream 2 goes online, that would make it a lot more difficult for the U.S. to wage a proxy war against Russia, because Germany will not want to be on board with cutting off its source of cheap energy. So the U.S. found an answer to that problem. They blew it up. And it's interesting. Hirsch reports that the planning for this operation began in late 2021. And that's when Russian forces were massing on the border of Ukraine, and there was a threat of the invasion. But something else happened. Russia, in that same month of December 2021, when planning was underway at the White House to blow up Nord Stream 2, Russia also submitted draft treaties to the U.S. and NATO, laying out detailed proposals for the U.S. and NATO to resolve their issues, to roll back NATO military infrastructure in states surrounding Russia. Now, we know what happened to that because the U.S. rejected it, wouldn't even discuss the core issue of Ukraine not joining NATO. Instead, the U.S. chose to basically let the Russian invasion happen. And then when that happened, proceeded to engage in this operation to blow up Nord Stream 2. And they've made no secret about their embrace of this. The day after the Nord Stream 2 was sabotaged, Antony Blinken declared that this was a tremendous strategic opportunity. And most recently, you've covered this, Victoria Nuland testified in Congress that she is grateful, along with the White House,
cut the feed, Nuland, they're slamming Nuland, cut the feed.
At the bottom of the sea.
Right, and I mean, the thing about it is...
Was it her that fell down those stairs?
Language in a way, too.
Erin, I hope you'll come back. Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually where it was. He actually was able to say that on some corporate-controlled media, believe it or not. And it was on Fox News. Wow, so they actually did invite Erin on to have a conversation. And I don't like that it's Tucker, but, you know, if he's going to invite people on, I mean, it's the only exposure that they're being offered whatsoever. So, you know, this is a guy who is no stranger to corporate media, but it's been a while since they've had him on, and they're certainly not talking about the Twitter files. So,
nope.
I think the major revelation of the Twitter files so far is that we've discovered an elaborate bureaucracy of what you might call public-private censorship. Basically, companies like Twitter had a system by which they received tens of thousands of requests for action on various accounts, typically through the DHS and the FBI, but these requests were coming from basically every agency in the government. We've seen them from the HHS, from the Treasury, from the DOD, even from the CIA, and they will send basically long lists of accounts in Excel spreadsheet files and ask for action on those accounts, and in many cases, Twitter is complying. Yeah, it's funny, as I was reading these tens of thousands of emails, we would put them into different buckets. So this might be a First Amendment particular issue over here. This might be a revolving door question over here. But then over here, we had a bucket called improper asks. And there you might see something like the FBI asking for user identification or IP addresses or handles, and in some cases, even things like geolocation of individual accounts. Now, the problem is we don't always see the other side of these transactions, but we can definitely see the government asking for these things. So these are things that they're not entitled to, usually without a subpoena or without a warrant, but they're asking for them anyway because they have a very close relationship with these companies. And in some cases, we're not talking about a few accounts, we're talking about thousands of accounts where they're asking for handles or IP addresses or other information. And that, I think, is very dangerous. Yeah.
Very dangerous.
Look where he was.
No wonder. No wonder. No wonder.
Okay, that is from the end. That's a scene. Oh God, I love Don. I didn't remember seeing that part. Okay, so that part, the no wonder. Anybody know? All right, who's old enough to know what that's from?
No wonder. No wonder. No wonder.
Anyone? All right, Reef is definitely not old enough to know what this movie was.
Nope.
Anyone? I'm going to give you a minute in the chat.
If I do, I don't remember that, but
drop it in the chat because I'm dying right now. The name C. Thomas Howell is all I can say. Oh Oh my God. So that was the movie Soul Man, which was, wow, a cringeworthy.
Yeah, that's a terrible. Yeah, it's very bad.
Cringeworthy, but terrible 80s racist, hilariously funny, but incredible. Think of what's the new Eddie Murphy movie with Jonah Hill, You People. It's basically that movie, except it's you people with college, effectively. Yes, blackface, exactly.
Yeah.
He decides to become a black person, and it's wow. It's terrible in so many ways. Oh my word! It might be. It's bad. So, somebody said
bad.
Misty. Somebody said Misty on Joy Reid. Well, we've got to let Misty in here. No.
For the people of East Palestine, it wouldn't. It would be. Let's not pretend that like Biden going there would change anything for the people of East Palestine. It wouldn't. It would be performative. However, as the president of the United States, when something as catastrophic as that happens in a town in this country, you show the up. That's I don't know. That's a no-brainer. He should have been there like day one, next day, checking on these people, assuring them that he's got their back. I mean, I wouldn't believe them, but I'm talking from an optics perspective here. That's a no-brainer in politics. You show up, you make sure that they understand that you're there for them. You reassure them that, you're going to help. Help them get the answers that they think that they need or whatever. I mean, it took 10 days for Pete Buttigieg to even mention it. I mean, I don't think Biden mentioned it unless he was specifically asked about it. Like they didn't even talk about it. A small town in Ohio was like, there was a mushroom cloud. There's like chemicals all over the place. And they didn't even mention it. Like, oh no, and then when Pete Buttigieg was asked about it, he's like, yeah, well, I know that this one's getting a lot of attention, but there's like 1,000 trains doing it. Like it's no big deal. First of all, you're the transportation guy. If there's 1,000 train derailments, maybe you should do something about that. Second of all, this one's getting more attention because it's a big deal. Like
she's just sitting there stunned.
It's mind blowing. It is mind blowing how out of touch
stunned into silence. Well,
and I have to think that it's like it's
again. These are
intentional.
fakes.
Like
but they're great.
You really can't be that dumb. They can't be this dumb. I mean, if I'm some chick in Ohio and I know this.
Just the fact alone that Misty was wearing a WikiLeaks T-shirt, they would never allow that at MSNBC alone. All right.
They might not even know what it is if they were.
Now
someone would have to tell them.
Now, now, I don't know if you could. I can blow up this tweet, but
what's that?
But
what's that
Turncoat
one
Don,
underneath it?
Turncoat Don, what? Oh, that's the dude running. Well, you can explain why. So Turncoat Don gave me the treatment. Yes, that was from Friday. All right. So of course Joe, who's now back on Twitter, STFU shitlib3. Please follow him. That's my brother. I love him. He actually sent me a message. He's got a new video he wants me to show. I'm like, dude, don't get me deplatformed, please. But let me see what you got. So he said, well, Turncoat and Indy are certainly 100% Russian sympathizer, anti-vax bigots, so full stop. Well, that's because
those are messages.
I did. In my appearance. What? In my appearance on, thank you, on Erin Burnett.
Rage against war. That's the key. We want to rage against war. Mm-hmm. There's going to be INN members there. Tara Reid will be speaking. Hosta will be speaking, and a huge lineup of speakers that is so impressive and crosses ideological lines, from Tulsi to Ron Paul to Chris Hedges, Max Blumenthal, so many people who I respect, some people who I don't like, and that's okay. I don't have to like everyone that shows up at a rally outside at the
yes, you do.
One of the memorials. Like, God. Don't hang out with them and don't talk to them. It's really not that hard. There's going to be plenty of people there to talk to. I mean, if you oppose this war, you're going to show up and forget the people that, you're going to ignore the people that you don't like and focus on the people that you do. And not just on people, but on the fact that you're there to oppose war and show solidarity to oppose war, and coalitions across all kinds of ideological spectrums shows people that this is a big deal.
So that was my 15 minutes or minute 16 there in the spotlight. Thank you again so much to Don. That was touching and surprising, and I had no idea he was going to do it. And of course, Don calling me the anti-vax bigot, full stop. So thank you for telling me to close my DMs.